How we doing, Zach?
The Broncos are so freaking back, boys.
Let's go.
I'll tell you what. I didn't feel as I felt great about the win after it happened. 28-3, about as dominant as it can be on both sides of the ball. But I got to tell you what, guys. I'm in an even better mood, actually significantly better mood, after being in the locker room and talking to Sean Payton, Bo Nix, JK Dobbins, Alex Singleton, and the rest of the Broncos locker room. Because, guys, this win meant more than I think any of us know. And that was kind of my biggest takeaway from this game was the Broncos 28-3. They beat them on the field, but this win was way more important after the game and feeling it from these guys. The confidence, 100% back. And it's not just because they dominated and had over 500 yards and beat a team by 25 points. This team has their swag back. And sometimes in a locker room, it feels like business as usual. This one, it wasn't like they won the Super Bowl. It was a perfect middle ground of like not just taking this for granted, but also not treating it like they won the Super Bowl because they just did beat the heck out of a really bad team. And so that's my biggest takeaway is, man, this has got to feel good for the fans. But let me tell you what, this feels even better for the players because the Broncos are truly back. They've got their swag back. They've got their confidence back. And, man, I'm starting to think, and I did not think this before the game, potential upset next week against Philadelphia. For the first time, I felt that after leaving that locker room tonight.
Zach's so back.
Zach, love to know, man, what did Sean say specifically that, made you just say that this win obviously meant a lot more? What did he say specifically in the press conference that has you with that takeaway?
Well, I'll tell you what, Benny. Sean, for the very first time, I saw him get choked up after a game. He tied Bill Parcells for the 16th most regular season wins in NFL history with 172. And if you know Sean, you've heard him talk about Bill Parcells and how much he means to him. And he got emotional when I asked him what that meant to him. And he just said, it's so cool. It's such an honor. And so this game meant more to Sean. This game meant more to the ground game. This game meant more to the defense to truly bounce back and have just a dominant game. And that's why it kind of means more than just a 25-point win, which is huge right there. But I was surprised. I've never seen Sean Payton get choked up. I didn't know he was capable of that. It's good to see that type of emotion from him.
He's not going to let you ask any more questions.
But it meant that much to him. And now on the football field, Benny, one of the things that really stood out to me was he admitted what the Broncos did different in the ground game. And then when we talked to JK, he expounded on it. When we talked to Quinn, he just went into that. And the Broncos unlocked the key to the running game. And it's as simple as they let the running backs have an entire series. So JK got the first series, RJ, and they just flip-flopped. It wasn't you're in for one play, you're out for another. It was letting these guys stay on the field. And I feel like that it's pretty straightforward, and it makes a lot of sense. But not a lot of teams do that. And certainly the Broncos had not been doing that. It had been JK getting 2 runs and then RJ getting 2 runs and then 1 and 1. Tonight, Sean Payton said we're going to let each guy have a series, and that was the key. JK said a lot of running backs are like this, but especially him. He likes to get that momentum and feel it. And boy, did you see it. I mean, when JK would have a 6-yard run, he'd get up and he'd just be ready for so much more. And then he'd go out and have a 7-yard run. And then he'd get up, want more. And then Sean Payton would feed him again. And it's pretty incredible to have a 100-yard game on only 16 carries. But that's what JK Dobbins did. Sean Payton said he wasn't aware that he was getting close to the 100-yard mark. I don't know if I buy that.
And I give credit to
JK went over 100 yards on his final carry, which went for 16 yards, 101 yards. And guys, this is a big pony to get off their back. A big what is that? When you get off your back?
You said
Did Sean listen to the pod? I mean, I know we talked about the receivers not doing wholesale changes, but he must have listened to the pod because we talked about that last week of keeping people in there so they can get a rhythm.
Yes,
exactly, and that's what he did. And guys, this was 38 straight games without a 100-yard rusher. You have to go back to Latavius Murray in 2022. That Sean Payton had never had a 100-yard rusher in his career, his career in Denver, which is just crazy to say. And you can tell that it means something to the offensive line. It means something to JK Dobbins, and it also means something to Sean Payton.
Zach, what was the best thing you heard in the locker room from the players?
From the players, Nick Benito was talking a couple of things from Nick, actually. Maybe the most chatty I've seen him, and it's because he's the best pass rusher in the NFL. He's got all the confidence in the world. Guys, he's on pace for 19 sacks this season. That would be the most in franchise history. Von Miller obviously owns that with 18 and a half. That's how good of a start Nick Benito is off to right now. And so it translated into off the field. When he was asked about Pat Surtain, and man, we didn't hear number one's name called a lot today, of course, referring to Jamar Chase. And he said, that's because he's the DPOY. That is the defensive player of the year. We love to have him, and that's who he is. And boy, did Pat absolutely shut Jamar Chase down. And what seemed like maybe a shaky start for the defense just turned into absolute clamp city on both sides of the ball. I mean, how many times did you guys say Riley Moss's name after the first two series? Probably not at all, because the Bengals did not get the ball. They did not finish a drive in Broncos territory after the first series. Think about that, how dominant that is. Nick Benito comes in with 1.5 sacks. He also said in the post-game locker room that every week they have a competition about who has the fastest get-off. And he said he and Jonah Ellis are tied for the most championships, and that Jonathan Cooper thinks he has more than he actually has. So some fun banter going on there. And, man, I got to tell you what, though, Nick Benito not only has the sacks to look like he's the best pass rusher in the NFL, his get-off is just insane. How about that one where him and Jonathan Cooper just met in Jake Browning's chest? That was pretty fun. That was great to see, and that's what happens with this team when they get a lead. The pass rush is just able to absolutely take off. And, guys, I just got to give some love for on the field, because there's some pretty incredible things that happened. The Broncos defense had more punts forced than points allowed. Just think about that. That is insane. And in fact, it wasn't even close. The Broncos had forced 8 punts to the Bengals only getting 3 points. They did not cross midfield after the first series. They were dominant, and especially because it started the same way that every other game has, where the Bengals scored on their first drive, and it's like, not this again. Let's just have an easy win. After that, it completely flipped, not just for the defense, but for the offense as well. How about this, guys? I went back and did the research. The Broncos had 512 yards of offense. They actually had 515 before their kneel down, but ended with 512 yards of offense. You have to go back to week 5 of the 2014 season to have the Broncos have more yards in a game.
Wow.
That is obviously...
Is that versus the Arizona Cardinals?
Ding, ding, ding. You are right, Benny.
Demarius Thomas over 200 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what will do it, is big-time performances get you over 500 yards. Bo Nix, kind of quietly had a 326-yard game today. Obviously, you almost have 200 rushing yards. JK Dobbins goes for 100. But you need big-time games in order to do that, just like DT did in week 5 of the 2014 season. And how about that? It's been over a decade. And you know what, guys? I want to get this out there. The Broncos won by 25 points. They had 500 yards of offense. They forced more punts than they had points allowed against them. And I still felt like they left so much meat on the bone. And that's a good thing, because it just shows what this team can be, because they should have beat the Bengals. They should have beat them by 25 points like they did. And there's still so much more for them to get better. And that is what encourages me the most. You beat the hell out of a team, and you still could have beat them by so much more. I mean, there was some things we can get into later throughout this week, like what is Bo Nix doing, throwing an interception there. But Bo Nix also, this was interesting. Sean Payton went out of his way to say Bo Nix saved him on that end of half drive that the Broncos had. Sean Payton said he got the Broncos into a sticky situation right before that touchdown to Courtland Sutton. Bo put him in the right situation, checked it to that play, hit Courtland for that touchdown. So Sean went out of his way to give Bo that credit there.
Nice. Zach, watch out for that ladder behind you, bro. It's getting really close.
Yeah, it feels like it just keeps getting closer. I don't know. Security dragged me out of this shot last time. Maybe a ladder falling on me is what's going to drag me out of this shot this time.
Well, I think it's bad luck to stand under a ladder or something. I feel like they're just trying to trap you into it.
Yeah, they're taking the goalpost down, right? You can literally see the goalpost going down right behind me right now. Wow, they're trying to flip this thing.
That's crazy,
quick.
bro. The media, classic media, moving the goalposts.
I'm moving the goalposts in a good way for the team this time, all right?
Zach, I got one more question. Oh, Are you? Oh, he's still here. Yeah, Zach, got one more question. Curious, anything from Bo? What did he say after the game? How was he feeling?
Yeah, he's feeling good. In fact, he said he was seeing the field well, and that really stood out to me because Bo typically is just dishing credit to other people, not taking much for himself, not giving us much when he's on the podium, and I thought that was a very fascinating thing that he said. He said, my vision was feeling good. He completed passes to 9 different guys, targeted 10 different players. They were using Adam Troutman as Evan Ingram at times, and then thankfully Evan Ingram picked up in the second half of the game because that was good to see him have his best game as a Bronco. Obviously, Troy Franklin had a couple of drops, or Bo could have gone for over 400, maybe even 450 yards. Cortland Sutton is that dude. He trusts Cortland Sutton a ton. And how about Marvin Mims? A breakout game for him. He loves playing against the Bengals. He said right now the Bengals are his early favorite to being his favorite team that he plays against in the NFL because he's got 3 touchdowns against the Bengals in the past 2 games. And guys, this goalpost might come down on me right now.
All right. We're going to let you go, Zach.
All right, Zach. Great to see you.
Appreciate you.
See you, fellas. See you in the morning.
Yes, sir.